You have to be comfortable being misunderstood.
Oh. Welcome everybody back to the Fitz and Franson Show, and this is one of our favorite episodes where we get to have a guest on the show and we get to let them talk at you guys instead of you guys listening to Fitz or Franson. So today we have Liz Berman on the show, and she is a part of a phenomenal organization out on the East Coast. And Liz, if you wanted to just give a quick 2-minute introduction about who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Liz Berman. I am the general manager of DiStefano Brothers Concrete Coatings. We are located in Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Southeastern Massachusetts. So we do service all of those areas. I have been with the company since 2019, although have been closely tied to the company for many years before that. We focus on residential, commercial, and industrial concrete floor coatings. So I never in my life thought that I would care so much about concrete and about moisture, but it just takes up all day, every day from here on out. So here we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
It's funny how I think when you get in the world that you never thought you'd get into, you probably stare at concrete more often than you ever imagined you could, right?
When I drive down a street, I look at garages. I'm like, oh, that house has a nice garage. That house has a nice. Why didn't we coat that garage? Why don't I see my sales guys' cars in their driveway? What is happening?
Right.
No.
And that's just on a daily basis.
Yeah. Your significant other probably gets as annoyed at you as mine does at me, I'm sure.
Luckily, he works with me here, so that helps.
There you go.
So I would say sometimes it's good, sometimes it's terrible. When I used to be selling on the road, I would joke that, my husband is one of our installers and he started the division for us. So we're talking about concrete coatings at 11:30 at night and at 5 o'clock in the morning. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, not quite sure yet.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah, that's great.
Well, you guys, I know you and your owner, Pete, have I guess a little bit of a history prior to getting started together. How did that start? And I guess how did Pete convince you to come work for him or with him? I should
Sure.
say.
So, Pete and I have been friends for a while. We met while I was the executive director of our local chamber of commerce. So I ran the chamber and he served on my board. So he was on my board for probably 4 or 5 years. And he would joke that the time would come where I would want to get out of nonprofit work. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, Pete, I love what I do, man. I get to help hundreds of member businesses. I get to deal with new industries every day. I love it. I love it. I love it. Up until the time that I did not love it. Really, I do truly cherish the time that I had at the chamber, and it's changed my life, truly. But fundraising for my own salary got really, really old. That got real tired, and fundraising and giving like personal favors to people so that it could help the chamber got really, really old. And my husband, Tony, who started this division for us, at the time was running everything in concrete coatings. So he went out and learned how to do it. We had no prior experience in concrete coatings. So he went out to Minnesota and got trained by the Penntek team. He was doing all of our installs, all of our hiring. He was helping all of the sales because they had no idea what they were doing yet. Doing all of the ordering, do way too much on one person's plate, especially as a person that's not the best at multitasking. So, I was starting to feel frustrated in the job that I was in. I was on autopilot for a while there, probably the last 2 years. I just felt like I had kind of given it everything that I could have and didn't really have anything else to give. And then I'm watching him getting really exciting about this new thing, but just struggling to get through the day-to-day of it all. So I went to Pete and I said, hey, man, today's the day. And he always said, I don't care what I'm doing. Whenever you're ready to leave, I will have a job for you. So I said, I think I'm ready, man. I think this is what we can do. And I'd love to come on board, and Tony and I could run concrete coatings and we could build this company for you with the person that I love most in this world. Like, that's the dream, right? That's absolutely fantastic. And Tony and I had worked together in the past in restaurants in our past life. So we had an idea of what it was like to work together. So I came on board in November of 2019 and originally was not just doing concrete coatings. We was also doing marketing and sales for our construction business that's been around since 2006. About 3 or 4 months in, Pete and I sat down. I was like, hey, man, if we really want concrete coatings to be something real within our company, it needs my full attention. It needs 100% of my brain power, and I can't be splitting it. And in around February of 2020, we made that switch, and I dove headfirst into concrete coatings. And then a month later, the whole state shut down with COVID. So It was a very interesting start. But that's what grew our business.
Yeah.
So we were getting kicked out of people's houses in construction because they didn't want anybody in their house. And concrete coatings, they were like, well, you're in my garage. That's cool. You can do that. Just kind of stay away. So we were actually able to keep our business running and to keep our people employed because people were still allowing us to be in their garage.
Yeah.
So it really just kind of set the stage for what concrete coatings has turned into today.
Sure. What an awesome, luck of timing with that, right? And I think we all got a little bit lucky in our industry and not realizing, I took a job, I moved my whole family and, then COVID hit a month later and I told my wife, hey, stop spending money, because I just took a job with a family-owned company and I might not, have a job here soon. And what do you know, it took off. But it's an interesting thing that you bring up that I think a lot of businesses go through when they bring on another division or some of the, organizations that started this, concrete business, as maybe a side project, so to speak. Can you speak a little bit about the difference it made in that pure focus that you put on a division and what that does? We were on a call earlier, Liz, and talking about, kind of the last thing that we touched on was those daily KPIs and watching the numbers and that focus you put on a division. What does that do? I mean, it's not that you weren't watching those numbers before and paying attention to it, but that dedication that you have on it, what does that change for the people that are working that division for you when you're talking to them like that on a regular basis?
Oh, it made such a big difference. Like, first and foremost, I think people can only focus on so much well, right? You may pretend that you can focus on 15, 16 different things and it's all covered. It is not. Things are absolutely slipping. Like, even as we talk right now, I'm currently the general manager of 2 of our companies. So it's not just concrete coatings, it's Inspired Closets. And we're in the process of getting me out of closets so that I can then again focus on concrete coatings. I'm going to probably botch a Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec quote here, but never half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing. And that's the way to do it, right? Like the best person in the world, right? Like, especially in terms of the general manager, right? Like, that is the nitty gritty day to day, how this business is focusing and running. If you cannot focus 100% of that, things will absolutely slip. They just will. So once I was able to really just kind of focus on concrete coatings, that's when because we kind of had, while Tony was running it, we really couldn't get past 1 crew. Once I spent 100% of my time focusing on it, we were able to jump up to 2 crews, and we essentially doubled in size year over year up until about last year. So just extreme growth that we have gone through, since we started in 2019. Really, now we are up to 13 crews that run every single day. So that level of growth, first off, it is really one of the things that I would talk about when I was at the chamber was smart growth, right? Like, it's easy to just grow. It is hard to grow in a way in which your customers aren't getting left behind and your employees aren't getting left behind, right? Like, I have watched, when I was at the chamber, I watched so many companies lose everything that they had built because they grew too fast and they lost the trust of the customer.
Yeah.
It's really hard and it takes a long time to gain that trust. It is so easy to lose it. right? Just like in any other relationship that we have. Once it's gone, it's gone. And it is very, very hard to get it back. So we went through extensive, rapid growth. And it really takes making sure that at least one person in that organization is constantly focused on the customer experience throughout that growth in all stages. Because it's not just the admin team or the sales team or the install team that can make that happen. It needs to connect all of those different pieces, because the worst companies are the ones that come to your house and you have a salesperson talking smack about install, or install blaming a salesperson, and the only thing that the customer is left to feel is, I made the wrong decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Jay. And Jay talks about it. You reference, like, if it matters to you, it matters to everybody else. And I feel like that's what Liz is talking about right here, is that focus mattering to the top people in the organization. It filters down to everybody else. And I know that's what you run at Powerful. It feels like that's what Liz is touching on here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so important too. I love the, if everything matters, nothing matters. And like, to your point, you're like, if I have to split my attention and give lip service to two departments, yeah, they both get a half-assed experience.
Yeah. There's no way around it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And you can be high level and you can be strategic, and it's really hard to be strategic and in the weeds all at the same time. You need somebody that's focused, that can be in the weeds and make sure that the speed to lead is there, and the admin team is setting up the sales team for success, and the salespeople aren't doing anything ridiculous when they're on site, right? And that transfers over to production. But like, all of those things take constant oversight, because something that Pete says to me all the time, and I remind my team members of it too, is if they did it right all the time, they wouldn't need you. I wouldn't have a job. They would not need a manager. They would not need oversight. If they did it right every single time, we would be obsolete.
Yep.
So they need it, right? And it's a thing that we have to be able to focus on.
Yeah. Well, and what you touched on is the human brain can only hold a couple of things simultaneously at best. There is no, the lie of multitasking. No, your brain just switches gears. It can't do a bunch of things. It doesn't juggle well. And so when you have team members, you cover a new topic in sales or marketing or whatever, and they can only hold it for so long because it gets replaced with something else. And then you have to go back. Sales guys, the easy thing that Matt's talked about is they probably forgot one of the steps. Mm-hmm. Great salesperson, great numbers, but all of a sudden the numbers drop off. Why? Oh, they need a manager to go, hey, man, I'm noticing because you aren't. We're both on the same team. Let's talk about it, right?
Sure.
And then you realign them with the company and the mission, then it's like, oh, numbers go back up.
Absolutely.
Bring it back to the basics, right? One of the things that's great is Justin, my very favorite sales reps. Every time he has a new rep shadowing him, he's like, it's a crash course for me to remember all the things that I'm supposed to be doing every day that maybe I'm not doing every day. Because anytime you ask a sales rep that's in a slump or off, every single time I don't know what's going on. I'm doing everything the same as I always do. I'm doing it the exact same as I always do. Well, maybe you're doing it the same as yesterday, but are you doing it as the same as 6 months ago when you were doing everything you were supposed to do? And then you slowly started to drift because the ego kicked in, and I can sell to anybody and I don't need to do the presentation. I don't need to follow these steps.
Yep.
I'm a super special, right? Like, all that starts to kick in. The ego of sales starts to kick in. You ride that high, right? And then it's like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that I used to always do this.
Hey, wait a minute. As a sales guy, I resent the ego statement. Just a smidge. I'm going to defend us a little bit here. I used to not joke so much, but I used to say, like, one of the things I think would be great is if somebody could figure out a way for, sales reps or, marketers, like call center reps or, those type of people, or installers, to have to spend like a 6-month period in management before they got to do the thing that they're going to go in the field and do, just for two reasons. Like, one, they get a peek behind the curtain to see all the things that they, otherwise would complain about, and realize, like, nobody's really out to get you. kind of thing. Cause they're always, oh, you're assigning me stuff that because you don't like me or whatever it might be that they're worried about. And two, that coaching aspect that you just mentioned, Liz, like it's the best tool to like remind you of the things that like we take for granted at times. I had a chance to go back into the field after managing for a long time. I went back into the field for a short period of time before we moved. I was such a better sales rep after having spent so many years coaching. I walked in, I was like, why wasn't I this good when I was first out there? And my wife reminded me, because you spend so many years teaching people how to do this that, now you just take it for granted kind of thing. If we could figure that out, I spent many years trying to figure it out. Now there's no way to hire somebody and go, cool, now go lead this group of people you just met. But if I ever crack that code, I'll let you guys know. So
yes, please do.
I will. Liz, you came in and you took over a growing organization, but now you have an organization that is, by all accounts, really well established. And when I came up and worked with you guys a couple of weeks ago, most people inside the network would say you're, for lack of a better term, kicking ass already. It is hard as a leader to tell them like, hey, you're doing well, but you're not as good as you could be. Right. And I need you to do better. So, and I will give your guys credit, any of them that tune in and listen to this. I've told anybody that has listened at this point that their hands were on fire when they were taking notes and trying to ask questions and get better. That is a direct response to leadership, in my opinion. That is a culture thing that has been established by the group in that building. How have you done that?
I think we do that in a variety of ways, to be honest. Pete is truly a fantastic leader. We're in New England. He's a Tom Brady fan, obviously. And he would, and during a lot of our company meetings, he would reference this one video, and it's Tom Brady, focusing on where his elbow lands after he throws. The best quarterback in the world spends all of his downtime trying to get 1% better.
Yeah.
Just 1% better. And if we're constantly just trying to be a little bit better tomorrow than we were today, we are always moving in the right direction. And some days we suck, man, right? Like some days we're real bad. So tomorrow is a low bar. We can be a little bit better than we were today.
Sure.
Right. And so within our organization, that's something that we have always talked about. Continuous improvement is one of our core values, and our core values do truly guide us in the decisions that we make and how we run our business. So we talk about it very, very often. If we cannot talk about the things that we are not great at, we will never get better. So first and foremost, you have to be able to be very real on everybody's personal downfalls. Right. And that's not a knock to you. Nobody's perfect at everything. That human doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Right. So we all bring different strengths and weaknesses to the table. And if we can't talk about those in a correct, if we can't talk about them and be open and honest about them, we're always just going to be where we are. And that's not Pete. Pete doesn't want to stay where he is. And it's not just growth for the sake of growth. It really is, something that he said to me while I was still at the chamber. I didn't work for him at this time. And I was putting a seminar together for young entrepreneurs. So I asked all my board members why they got into business for themselves. 9 out of 10 of the answers were because I didn't want somebody else telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. Fair. A lot of entrepreneurs will tell you that.
Sure.
What Pete said really stuck with me. And he told me this like 15 years ago now. He said, I truly enjoy giving people opportunities and watching them change their lives because of the opportunities I was able to provide. So when we look at growing our company, that's one of the things that fuels us. I want to grow so that Mike, my production manager, can move up and take on more responsibility and better his life and get to kind of that next level. And it's not just to open more locations and do this. So it really kind of ties back to your people. And I think if you're always focused on your people, and you put time aside for training, we spend 1 hour a week as a sales team just working on sales. So this is our fishbowl meeting. And the idea is you throw something in a fishbowl and you see what comes out. So it's a 1 hour meeting with all of our sales representatives to do just that. What are you running into when you're in the field? What struggles are you having? So people have to be vulnerable. They have to show up ready to say, hey, I suck at this. Does anybody have any advice? Right? And the entire team is super supportive. And whenever somebody really does come to that meeting with a struggle, the way that our team rallies around that is truly remarkable. Like I joke that I think we have the best team in the world. We have the best team in the world. There is no doubt in my mind, because we allow for people to be vulnerable. And I think that we celebrate them for their strengths and we accept them for their weaknesses, because you don't get one side of a coin. You get both. Most great sales reps are terrible at paperwork, miss all the details, right? We accept them for their strengths. We celebrate them for their strengths and we accept them for their weaknesses. But then it's also like, hey man, we're just also not going to let these weaknesses lie. We have to try and get better. So let's work on different ways in which we can get better, and always have an open mind to anything coming our way, because being coachable, I think, is one of the best things you can be in this world. Right. And it's something that we talk about at length during our interviews. Because if you have figured it all out, you will never work for us.
Yeah.
Ever. Because then you're just kind of closed off to any new experience or just a new way of thinking. Because the way in which we sold 20 years ago is different from today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you know it all, you would never be open to that change.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Jay, I almost wish I had asked that question later, because we got more time to fill, and that was a damn good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, you should pause, rewind, and go back and write all of that down. That was a hell of an answer, Liz.
I can ramble about this. I'm so passionate about what I do and my team and where I work and the opportunities that it's given me in my life. I think DiStefano Brothers is the first place that I ever worked where I could truly be myself. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? Like all of those pieces. And it can get real ugly. I'm intense, right? Like it can get there. But you don't have somebody that shows up to work, that is passionate, that cares about their team, that will do anything for their team. It's not going to get rip-roaring pissed off when there's somebody kind of milking the teat over there, just not putting in what they should be putting in.
Yeah.
You don't get that out of people, right? So I think we've created an environment in which that can be celebrated and people can truly be their whole selves.
Yeah.
Because hiding half of who you are is exhausting. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to do that shit anymore. So like, I'm vulgar, I'm inappropriate, right? All of these things are the reality of what I bring to the table. But I can also get people fired up about working here and really, get them on board with what we're trying to do. And it's not recreating the world, right? We lay concrete floor coatings. Like, I'm not even saving lives here. We're just making garages pretty,
Mm-hmm.
But you can do it in a way that it makes your customers happy, your employees are happy. And I think that's really what it all comes down to, right?
Oh,
You're taking care of those two people. The rest of it figures itself out to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Jay,
with nuance.
Jay, you can, again, I had a chance to go there. It was, I think, 2 weeks ago now. And you can feel, and shame on me, they have two separate buildings, just for the record. And Jay, you know me pretty well at this point. Like, me running a little bit behind like schedule is not like my MO. And I went to the wrong building. I was super early to the wrong building. I was right on time to the right building. And I got shit for being right on time from Liz's team, which was appropriate. But you can feel all of what Liz is expressing, like the second you walk in the door and you're introduced from her team to her team rather. And it's it's a unique feel. There are other buildings like it. There are not any better than it for sure. And that's what makes good teams good, great teams great. We've talked about it before, like the difference between top performers or top companies. It's not X's and O's. It's what's between their head. It's what between the ears rather. And that starts from the top. That starts with leadership. There's no doubt about it for sure. So good for you guys, Liz. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I love that you got to be at the chamber and talk to entrepreneurs. In your time there, was there something that you were like, if I ever go out and run a business, there's no way I'm going to do this thing? Like people that you're seeing, you know, they're coming in and you're like, oh, I can help you. And you watch them and you're like, oh gosh.
Yes, I definitely saw a lot of that. What I ended up really seeing is like, I mainly, while I was at the chamber, I mainly dealt with the business owners, right? And I would have people come in and I tried to hire a marketing person, but it just didn't work out. I can't hire a marketing person. Okay. What was it like? What was the onboarding like? Well, we didn't really do any onboarding. Okay. All right. What type of education did you give this person so that they could be successful in that job? Oh, well, I just kind of told them that I needed them to do marketing and told them to run with it. Okay. All right, cool. Did they have a desk? Well, no, they kind of worked on the stairs in the corner and used their like 10-year-old laptop because I didn't want to buy them a new one. Okay. All right. So maybe setting people up for success in a new role is really important. You know, I would watch business owners that just would like constantly complain that they couldn't get good help, but they were paying shit. Well, if you pay shit, you're going to get shit, right? Like that's the reality of what's happening. You need to pay people more money, right? You also need to listen to what your people are saying. So I think so many middle managers, I think for the most part, have like the rawest deal out of any group of people. Especially when one step above the middle manager like doesn't listen to what they're saying, right? I think when you lose the voice of the end user, and I'm not even talking about the client here, I'm talking about our end user and our job, the last person to do something, right? For us, it would be our install team. If you lose their voice and their perspective of what matters, it doesn't matter that you have all these core values that you post up on the wall, but they don't mean shit, right? Yep. Like it's just lip service. It doesn't mean anything. So something that I heard during some seminar, however many years ago, was if you don't put time and resources behind it, it does not matter to you. And I would watch businesses claim that things mattered, but they put no time or resources behind it. So how can that truly matter? So I think that's the thing that I saw most often. And it would just be like people that couldn't get out of their own way, right? Or wouldn't take the leap to bring on the right person to do the things that they don't do well, right? The control freak that can't let go. Well, cool. The business will never be more than what you can physically do.
Yeah.
And if that's really what you want, like that's fine. But that's all it is. If you need to take a vacation, you will make no money. That's where we're at. So if you want to kind of get out of that, you have to be able to put your faith in people. And if it matters to you, you have to put time and resources behind it.
Yep. Yeah. That's good stuff. So, you know, I think coming in, if you were going to, you know, I guess give advice about growing a team and bringing people on and providing that training, because I agree with you. I think that is probably one area that we shortcut in too many experiences, right? And we hold on to too much. What would you say would be kind of critical in laying that out for? Let's use either a salesperson or a marketer, you know, that's that kind of end user experience, because that's predominantly, I think, who we need to get the business up and growing, you know, for the most part here. What do you think is critical in bringing on a new salesperson for you, for example?
I think one of the most important things is making sure that your team understands the decisions that they are able to make by themselves. Right? So one of the things that makes me absolutely crazy is when there's a very easy solution that cannot be done because it has to go through 17 steps of nonsense people because I don't have the authority to make this decision. So in our business, we have been very clear with people on the decisions in which they are able to make. And even if it's a decision that maybe isn't in their purview, but they can't get somebody on the phone, they tried to call me, I'm in a meeting. They tried to call Mike, he's doing right. Like, we have been very, very clear with our team that if they need to make a decision and they cannot get somebody to help them with that decision, that if they throw it through the gauntlet of our core values, that I am comfortable with the decision that you come to. It may not be what I would have done, but I am comfortable with that decision and I will have your back on it no matter what.
Yeah.
Because you don't just get to have your team's back when things go well. You have to be there for them when it goes to shit or it doesn't mean anything. So when they make the wrong decision, when they do the thing where you're like, what were you even thinking? I had somebody very recently say to me, well, I didn't know the answer, so I said yes. And I'm like, cool, man. When in doubt, say no.
Yeah.
And then find out. Please. Moving forward. Can we just do that? But I think we have been very, very clear with giving people the authority to make the right decision so that our customer has a good experience.
Yeah.
Right. And then they feel that they have control and power over the outcome. Because otherwise, it was somebody else's decision. I didn't really want to go along with it, but they made me do it because I had to go to this manager and this person and that person and that person. And now the customer's pissed because I didn't do this 2-inch block that I really just should have done. Yeah, you should have done that, man. Right? Like, that's the right decision. That's the right thing to do. And our core values are really that guide for our team. Like, I think the one thing that made me, I called Pete when this happened. I was like, hey, man, it's working. I'm in a text group with my sales reps, and they are quoting core values to each other.
That's amazing.
They are going back and forth like, hey, integrity, we do the right thing, not the easy thing. That is what we do every time. Right? Like, we delight our customer. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I can't even believe this shit is happening. This is what we all worked so hard for. Like, it's become that ingrained in what we do that I'm not saying, hey guys, what's the core value? They are quoting it to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And giving people the power and autonomy to do that, I think truly sets them up for success and makes them have buy-in to what they're doing. Right. And then it's like, hey, man, maybe next time, like, consider this thing too. Like, maybe we could have just done this.
Yeah.
And you kind of educate through the decision-making process, right?
100%. Jay refers to it as making sure your people know what winning looks like, right? And I think that's a very, similar, phrase to what you're talking about. And in a previous life, I was part of a group that was tasked with a high turnover rate with new hires, right? And hiring people's hard. Finding the right people is extremely difficult, and it's very, very expensive to hire and train. And it's just something we take for granted, that we'll go find people and bring them in. And there are plenty of people looking for jobs. There's just not plenty of the right people. And it continually amazes me when I ask somebody, what's your training process look like? Well, we show them the videos and we give them the script and we teach them how to price, and then we send them out and run. And it's like that right there. If you did nothing else but teach them how to make the right decisions, or even not the right decisions, that's probably the wrong way to say it. Like, allow them to know what decisions they're allowed to make and not make is probably the most critical part of that, because I'm okay with you making mistakes. That's the only way we learn, right? And as a owner or a leader, you have to be okay. And Jay and I have had talks about this on previous episodes. They're only going to be able to do it, Jay, I think you referenced it, like 80% of the way that I'm going to do it, because they only could possibly know 80% of what I know, or how I would do it. And I have to be okay with that, because I can't do 100% of the things. And, your time, like you were mentioning with the chamber, like, that's what keeps businesses from growing. And if I don't give a good outline of what, winning looks like and what your role in that winning looks like, then that's my failure as a leader. There's no doubt about it. And that culture that you have in that building that you can feel when you walk in the door is because your team is empowered to make those decisions. That if you were going to put your finger on one button and that's what it is, that's 100% what it is. There's no doubt about it, for sure. So that's cool stuff, for sure. Thanks for sharing. So had a chance to come up a couple weeks ago, and you made a comment about one of your reps earlier today on a call that we were on, and Jay, I haven't had a chance to share it with Jay, but man, I was so happy to hear that. If you don't mind sharing a little bit with Jay and maybe the 2 or 3 other people that might be listening today, that'd be cool. Because that's the kind of stuff that I get excited about.
I am happy to. So, one of my sales reps, like he's my tough nut to crack, man. And we have very different styles, right? We do. So learning from me would never worked with him. But year to date had sold 0 financing jobs. 0. I think was very much of the opinion is they can just afford it. They'll just pay for it, or they'll put it on a credit card and they'll do it some other way. And financing is dumb. The week after Fitz was here, he sold 3 finance jobs. Like 3 out of 5 jobs that he sold were financed. And his net, and he even said it. He was like, Fitz sold me. He sold me on it. I understand it. I'm going to do it every single time. This is a resource that I could be using that could help me to get better, that could put more money in my pocket and help my family. And I'm going to use every single tool that I got. So he's now kind of been our poster child for selling financing, which is such an amazing turnaround. Because I do truly, truly like this person. He's absolutely hysterical. He's an absolute blast. And him and I just kind of, we kind of butt heads a little bit. And whatever I was saying, whatever I was putting down, he was not picking up. He was not into it. And a lot of stuff was the stuff that I learned from Fitz in Virginia. So it was stuff that sometimes you just need to hear it a different way. And I think what you bring to the table, Fitz, is just this very not in your face, laid back, unassuming approach to sales training. That's like, hey man, I've been where you are. This is a resource that you have that you can use, and you are shortchanging yourself if you don't. Right. And our team, like literally their hands were falling off, like about to catch fire from writing notes. And, some of the conversations that we've had after that have just been absolutely wonderful. So they're all, working on how they bring up financing within the first 2 minutes. So that was one of the role plays that we did while Fitz was here in town. So we're continuing to do it. And now part of our fishbowl every single week is, give me your 2-minute intro, dude. How are you bringing this up? How are you saying it? Because if you do not practice it, you will not get it right, and you will fumble it in the house, and you will sound like an idiot, and then you're going to blame financing for not working, right? When really you did not practice, you didn't take the advice of Fitz, right? And you just went in cold. But it's really, really great to see just that complete turnaround from somebody that had done none to 3 in a week.
It was really cool to hear. And, usually I get a chance and Jay knows this, because usually I get a chance to follow up, and we have a call next week, and I get a chance to follow up a couple of weeks after and just check in, see how things are going. And, it's always great to hear, hey, we've taken some things and we've seen some growth, but it only works when people are doing the things you're talking about, right? They're practicing and they're talking about it. And again, it works for a period of time when we're talking about it, and then inevitably we take it for granted, and then we stop talking about it, and then we turn around. And I'm guilty of it as a sales manager or leader myself. I stop talking about it, and I turn around 2 months later and go, hey, we're not doing it anymore. Oh yeah, I stopped talking about it, right? But one of the things I I had a call about a couple, I might actually talked about it on the way into your building. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I had a rep who worked for me a couple of years prior to working at my last job. And he called me before I walked into your building, I think. And, hey, I need you to talk to me about this thing. I need you to ask me the question. And it's funny how like you just continually need these reminders of certain things that, you know, it's just, I need you to just say the same thing over and over and over and over again to me. And what I love about that experience with that particular rep and hearing stories like that is, you know, as leaders, we can put these systems in place and we can introduce reps to tools, right, that are going to make them successful, provide opportunities for their families, and give them, you know, resources to, you know, experiences for their lives that they maybe dreamt about, you know, but never could realize. But it's them that put it to action and make it come to fruition. It's not us, right? They have to do it. I can lead into water, but they got to drink it. And yeah, it's really cool. I'm proud of them. And that's, I can't wait to see what that does for them over the course of the next several months. So, if you get a chance to talk to him today or tomorrow, tell him a big round of applause. That's awesome. That's good for him.
Absolutely, man. Honestly, it was one of the best trainings we've done. And we do a lot of trainings. We're not a company that shies away from trainings. Continuous improvement, one of our core values, right? So bringing other people in to share a message, I think is so important. What I always tell people too is like, you just need to take one thing away from it and it's worth it. Yeah. If there's one small thing that you can take away, like sometimes I feel like, especially when you go to like a seminar, right? And it's a full day or 2 days of all of these things and you have all these ideas and I'm going to go back to my business. I'm going to implement all of them. And I'm like, no, man, one thing, implement one thing. And once that's going and that's good, do one more thing, right? Like one thing at a time, smart growth, smart change.
Yeah.
Because sales reps love when you change things on them, man. They're not creatures of habit in any way, shape, or form.
Big fans. Yeah, big fans. You know, you remind me, and then, you know, maybe we get into our questions here. But the last, I was at a conference not too long ago, and you guys will appreciate this because you're both leaders in organizations. But you go to those conferences, there's so many great people up there talking about their organizations. And Liz, like you're talking about, you get this pages and pages of notes. So all these great ideas you got to bring back and you got to implement right away. And inevitably, at the end of a conference, I would sit down and look at these notes and I go, man, I suck at what I'm doing because I don't do any of these things. I can't, like, I'm terrible at what I do. And I have a really good friend of mine in the organization. Him and I didn't have flights till the next day. And we're sitting there having a bourbon at the end of the thing. And he looks at me and goes, hey, do you ever have the same feeling I do? And I go, that I suck? And he goes, yeah, that I suck. And I go, yeah, this is ridiculous. And I pull out my notebook. He pulls out his. We got like 5 pages of notes. He goes, do you do the other thing that I do? And I go, halfway through the flight. He goes, yeah, halfway through the flight, where you go, not everybody's doing all these things exactly every single day. I was like, yeah, exactly. Nobody could do all of these things all of the time. Yeah. And I go, then you have this moment of like, what's the one thing from here that I could implement over the next month? So, you know, if you're listening to this, like, you're not alone in that feeling when you go through that stuff. There's a lot of great things, a lot of great ideas. You can't implement all of them at one time. If you do, you will drive your people insane, right? And you'll be the crazy leader that like, okay, cool. He'll forget about half of this stuff after like a week and go back to business as usual. Just pick one really good idea that you like, that you feel is going to make a difference in your business and stick to that. And then once that's up and running, maybe try another thing, right? But, and you're also, you don't suck. Like you're doing something right because you're going to those things and listening to people and taking in new ideas. So it's a good lesson to learn for sure. And it's also good to have people to like, you know, bounce the idea that you might suck off of each other for sure too.
Absolutely.
So yeah. What do you think, Jay? We want to do some rapid questions with Liz here?
Yeah, I think we'll run through the questions and see what she has for us. So first one. What is something that you're surprised to find yourself doing that you hated that a previous leader did?
Well, I guess the official leader I'll go with is my mother. I'm gonna throw out one of those. And this was a phrase that she said to me throughout my entire high school life. Nobody plans for an accident, Elizabeth. That's why it's called an accident. I have heard myself say that out loud to my team, and I shudder every single time I do it.
Yeah. And now they're going to watch this and they're going to come back with, Liz, you're just like your mother.
That's right. She's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like it.
That's a good
I
answer.
like it. All right. What's the next one, Jay?
What are you most excited about in the next 6 to 12 months at DiStefano?
Oh, there's so much. I'm most excited. We're going to be kind of, I will be able to kind of shift back and put all of my focus back onto concrete coatings. I've been building our Inspired Closets company for the past 2 years. So we're going to bring somebody else in to run that and to make it just grow and explode into the amazing company that it will. So it's been really fun to be able to be a part of that and to kind of get it up and running, get everyone really, we have such a remarkable team there that's just poised for exceptional growth. But as I said earlier, it needs full attention, right? So I'm really excited to be able to put all of my attention back on the concrete coatings. And we are now expanding much more heavily into the commercial and industrial world. So I get to talk about more concrete coatings products and, so much fun. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. That's exciting. Last one. If you could give one piece of advice to a leader, what would it be?
Oh, one piece of advice.
Only one. We're sticking with the theme of one.
Okay. You have to be comfortable being misunderstood.
Oh.
I think that middle management probably feels this more than any other leader within an organization. But you can go into everything with all of the best intentions, with your best laid plans, with, trying to do the right thing, and you will still be the villain in somebody's story. And I have been the villain in many a people's story. And it can really weigh on you. It can get really, really hard, right? Especially when, middle managers, leaders, you have to possibly let somebody go or have very, very difficult conversations with people. I think those are the hardest parts of the job. And I think that's where people kind of lose their passion for what they do. Because we internalize so much of it and it weighs so much on us. I mean, I won't sleep for weeks at a time if I and nobody else sees that, right? Like it's often silent. But being comfortable and being misunderstood is not an easy place to be. Most people, including myself, have, let me explain myself. Let me tell you why I did this, and because we're very uncomfortable being misunderstood. And I think as a leader, sometimes you just have to be.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if you tell them everything. They're only going to see it from their perspective. And you have to consider not just your perspective and theirs, but everybody's on the team. And nobody else considers that but you. So it can be lonely. It can be very lonely. So being comfortable being misunderstood, I think, is a superpower that leaders can have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really powerful. I'm a people pleaser. Most of us, I think, we get into management thinking that we can please everybody. Yep. It's a fool's errand.
Yep.
We see a manager that half the team didn't like him, and we're like, I could do it so much better. Mm-hmm. And then we realize half the team doesn't like us. Like, wow, this is just part of the job.
It is. And it's a lonely job, man. Being a leader is not for everybody. Being a manager is not for everybody. You have to be able to get joy out of other people's success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not everybody is built that way, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
You give all of the success away and you take all of the fault.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to be. So really, really make sure that you want it and that you want it for the right reasons. I had a woman at one point tell me, I know this is supposed to be rapid fire. I don't do everything rapid fire, but I had a woman tell me at one point that worked for me that she wanted to be my number 2. She came into my office. She sat down. She was very serious. I want to be your number 2. I was like, I don't know what that means. She's like, well, I want to be the number 2 person in charge. I was like, okay, so you want to be like in charge of production? It's like, no, I just don't want anyone else telling me what to do but you. And I said, oh, okay, cool. You just want power over others for the sake of power over others.
Sure.
Probably not going to work out, right? Let's think that through a little bit more. But if you're getting into leadership or if you're considering about going into management, like just make sure you really, really want it. Because if you're really great at doing the thing that you're doing right now, managing that thing is very, very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just make sure you want it because it is not easy and it's pretty lonely.
Yep.
So make sure you have a good support system around you, because the worst thing that we do as managers and leaders is vent to the wrong person or to the wrong team member where you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe I just unloaded all of that mental burden onto my top performer because they're my right hand, right? Like,
Yeah.
we've all been there. We've all done it. Like making sure that you have a support system either within your organization or outside of your organization is so important because this leadership game is lonely as hell.
100%.
You really can be. And your spouses get annoyed when you talk about it too much. So, you know,
Yeah.
they need something.
I had a good mentor.
That's right.
And that,
That's good.
right before I got into leadership, he said, hey, look, before you take this, you need to understand that they're not going to like every decision you make. And if they do, you're not making all of the right decisions. Are you going to be okay with that? Because they really like you right now. And before you accept that job, you need to be at terms with that decision. And that was probably the most powerful advice I got before I stepped into the career that I am in now. And man, that's it. Yeah, Liz, I hadn't thought about that until you just brought that up. And that is really great advice. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Cool. Well, Matt and I spent a lot of time just nodding today.
Mighty, right? Yeah.
So it's been an excellent episode. And
I could ramble about this shit all day long. I love it. I really do.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love the passion that comes through in your voice while you talk about it. And you are animated. That's also good, you know. Matt and I are probably a little too stoic in most cases. I jokingly said our podcast should be listened to at 2x speed. Yeah. Takes us a while to get through to the point and just hit that 2x button. So I'll wrap us up here. Any of the listeners today, if you guys found value in today's conversation, stay connected with us. And those of you in the Penntek network, DiStefano is a great resource. Mark and I talk regularly. Liz loves to share her passion for leadership and running great organizations. But specifically in the Fitz and Franson Show, reach out to Matt or myself if you guys want to discuss some of the stuff that was covered in today's episode. I hate doing this part, but hit the like and follow button on our different platforms. We appreciate that engagement with us. And so, Liz, thank you again for being a part of this episode today. It was a ton of fun, and you're just a phenomenal leader, and you do it right. It's nice to be a part of your organization in the capacity that we are.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I had a blast, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.